我今日嚟到 Bentley 嘅觀塘 showroom 咧睇呢部全世界得12部嘅好經典嘅 Bentley Blower 呢部車咧係一架原廠嘅複製車，全亞洲就係得呢一部。
我今日嚟到 Bentley 觀塘專店睇呢部咧 Bentley Blower 一個 continuation。咁呢部車咧就喺2020年發表嘅，由 Bentley 嘅Mulliner部門咧全人手打造嘅。咁每一部咧個定價係150萬英鎊，全世界得12部，全亞洲咧就係得我哋今次見到呢一部嘅啫。
So the car itself is a continuation of a car that Birkin drove in the 1930 Le Mans. The car is finished in what we call Blower green. So this green is paint matched to the original team car that we had in crew. So the roof is a very basic frame. It's a continuation of what's on the race car. And you can see it's a two-man job. Okay, your side?
They use the same material as the old days?
Yeah, so this is this actual roof material is a slight modern improvement
right.
for weatherability and for water protection.
Right.
Okay, so now you can see the inside a little bit better. So the dash area itself is a complete continuation of the car as it was in the day. The only addition that we have is the speedometer in this corner. So actually when it raced in Le Mans it didn't have a speedometer, but for the purposes of the modern customer we've added the speedometer in that corner. The dial faces have all been matched to the original car, so in terms of font, in terms of colours, in terms of the lettering and the style. So this material is a cotton layer and this is then paint over the top. And it's baked to the cotton. So the paint is poured on by hand. It's a very labour-intensive process. And if you look very, very closely, you can see the lines in the Rexine. This is where the Rexine is pulled through the machine to bake the paint to the surface. Okay? This is a 4.5 litre engine, 4-cylinder, and it's driven at the front with the Roots supercharger, which basically forces the air into the engine. This is, produces just shy of 250 brake horsepower. So the crank and the sump casing are magnesium castings. So they're some of the biggest magnesium castings now available, now produced on the market. As is the bulkhead, so magnesium castings. This is matched from the scan data of the original car as well, so this is identical manifold to the original car. Those that have got a keen eye will see that we've fitted the fans behind the radiator. So obviously this is a modern feature, but it's basically to allow the cooling. We've tweaked it slightly to give that more drivability to the customer.
So we can see the intake this side, right?
The supercharger intake is down here.
Okay, yes.
And it comes up directly into the engine. So normally on a straight 4.5, this is where your carburetors would be.
I see. Right.
They've been changed for blow-off valves.
Right.
The carburetors are now on the front of the car.
What is the maximum pressure for the supercharger?
10 is good.
Okay.
I would say 15 you start to get blow off.
I see.
It's a fine line.
Yes.
Dunlop stopped producing this in the 60s, 70s.
Right.
It was not produced for a long time, but we wanted, from an aesthetic point of view, to have the 3-stud.
I see.
The added advantage for the customer is, because Brockley produces this, that
right.
they can replace their tyres when in use. We didn't want to develop something that was hard to get hold of.
Right. Basically, the whole car is hand built, right? And,
exactly.
And every part are made by hand?
Yes, every single part.
Can I say that this is a kind of a reverse engineering?
It's exactly that, reverse engineering. So we scanned the original car,
right.
So we created 3D models. We found that the original car, the chassis is a ladder frame chassis.
Yeah.
It was twisted in 2 planes. because it had been in several accidents in its 90-year life.
Right.
So we had to straighten the chassis to be able to produce a straight chassis and a straight body and everything else.
Right, okay. So they still use the English wheel to do all the fenders?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, all of that. Yeah.
Yes.
So we didn't want to make a replica.
Right.
We didn't want to make something that just looked like the original. We wanted to use the same manufacturing processes. We wanted to use the same materials.
Right.
So we have a world-class laboratory in Bentley Crew.
Right.
And where we didn't know the original material, we had our lab analyze the material so we could produce to the originals.
Are there any special procedures to start this car?
Because this is effectively a brand new car,
right.
One of the rules is that it has to have an electrical cut-off.
Yes.
So I've just engaged the electrics. I know that they're on because the red light is telling me it's on.
Okay.
Okay. So the next is the fuel pumps.
Right.
So this is the switch here. I can hear the fuel pumps come on in the back. The magnetos. And then the start.
This is the choke?
No, so this is, retards and advances the magnetos to the engine. So what's delivering the spark to the engine?
I see.
So just while we're sat here on ignition, if you were driving on the motorway, you would advance. It delivers quicker.
I see.
So now you can see the stuff is working, yeah? Supercharger pressure. So at the moment in idle, it's in a vacuum. As you drive hard, it pressurizes. And remastered all the original tools. The colour of the leather is chosen to match the outside colour of the car. So these are all taken from the archives in the WO Foundation, so the kit matches what you would have got in 1930 if you were to buy this car. In the back and on the front of this is the VIN number, the chassis number for the car. We've also produced for each of the continuation customers an original instruction book for the car. And then inside that is a signature of every person who's helped build the car.